Hi, so my name is Jesse Collins. I'm a volunteer here with the Sound Archive at the Armenian Museum. And I've been working with them since about 2019, February, to start to digitize some of the older disc recordings, records in the collection. There's an amazing body of work in the library here that kind of starts around 1909, 1910. And a lot of it was initially published by major labels like Columbia Records prior to the Depression, and it really featured a huge body of work of a lot of different ethnic groups, and the Armenians were tremendously prolific and influential within that. So a lot of these things that we're digging out are recorded here in America by recent immigrants at that time, and they've had 100 years of life since then. The condition varies. They've been in basements, they've been in family collections, traveled across the world and across the country, and so we're doing our best to clean them up and get them preserved and digitized so that they can be heard for another 100 years. So I can walk you through the cleaning process here. One thing to note, prior to vinyl records, which is what we think of when we see sort of the black disc, they were using a material called shellac, which is the same thing that's actually used in furniture polish and whatnot, and so it's dissolvable by alcohol. So a lot of cleaning solutions that you would use now for new records have alcohol in them, and if you have this kind of thing in your personal collection, in the family or whatnot, and they get exposed to alcohol, it'll actually eat away the information that's on the disc. So we do as sort of non-invasive of a cleaning as we can. Just do it by hand really gently with distilled water and a light detergent when necessary. So I can show you that process. And this varies depending on how clean or dirty any given disc is. Sometimes I won't use detergent if it seems very, very clean. You can start to see the dirt there. And I'll just do either dry cleaning even or distilled water only. So after the detergent, try and rinse off anything. So each record that we pull out, I sort of assess the condition first to see if it has cracks or sort of other exposure. The inner core of these can sometimes be cardboard or paper sort of like material. They were really experimenting with materials, so you need to be careful. If it's cracked and it soaks up water, it might sort of further damage. So always just take a look and see if it can handle light cleaning. And go from there. And then usually they're housed in sort of a acid-free sleeve. That the original sleeves that they came in were super acidic and have really broken down and can kind of just contribute to the overall grime and degradation, so we keep them in a nice clean new sleeve once they're cleaned. So from the cleaning stage, we come over and we set it up on the turntable. There's a whole bunch of factors to consider here, but the primary factor is just that, again, since these are older, the disc that I'm about to play is actually recorded in 1917, it's over 100 years old, and the technology was developing, so I tested with different needles and whatnot to see what's gonna reproduce the best sound for that particular recording. Generally speaking, it's a bigger needle than most, so if you play vinyl records at home and you throw on a recording that's 100 years old, it's likely going to sound pretty crazy for a number of technical reasons. So we've got it set up to playback equipment of this age, or material of this age, and I'm going to share with you a gem from a woman who lived actually in Brookline, Massachusetts, from around 1908 to 1920. She was born around 1890 and emigrated to the States, I believe, around 1896. Settled here and was a classical operatic soprano. She toured really widely throughout the United States as well as Europe. She was really active in fundraising. She did some work collecting for the Near East Relief Campaign, and was sort of very, very embedded within the Armenian community, socially as well as musically. So her name's Zabelle Panosian. This is her rendition of Krunk, which means crane in Armenian, and it's a beautiful recording she did for Columbia Records in 1917. Would have been in many a household around that time. So. So very special, very old rendition of a classic Armenian song.